Good morning, students. Good afternoon, student. Welcome to grade 7 mathematics. I'm so excited to begin our journey through the Ethiopian curriculum. Today we are starting Unit 1, Basic Concept of Sets, and this is a lesson 1, Introduction to Sets. Before we dive in, and let me ask you something. However, organize your belongings, maybe your books, or your clothes, or your school supplies. If you have, then you already understand the basic idea of what we are going to learn today. Let's get started. Let's take a moment to see what we will learn today. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to define what is sets in mathematics. You learn how to identify the elements or member of a set. Then you will use the correct symbols and notation that mathematicians use when talking about sets. And finally, you will recognize example of sets in your everyday life, because sets are not just something in a textbook. They are all around us. So, are you ready? Let's begin. What is set? Now, let's answer the most important question. What is set? What is a set? Can you answer this question? In mathematics, a set is a collection of well-defined objects. Now, what does well-defined means? This is the key point. It means that we can clearly and without any confusion determine whether something belongs to the set or not. Let me give you an example to make this concept clear. If I say the set of all students in the classroom, that is well defined. We know exactly who is in this classroom, and we can say without any doubt who belongs and who doesn't here. So, but if I say the set of all people, that's not well defined. Why? Because what counts as a tall? For one person, tall might mean over 1.8 meters. For another person, tall might mean over 1.6 meters. So there is no clear rules. So in mathematics, we only use well-defined collection. Clear? So the objects in a set are called elements or members. Remember, word elements, because we will use it a lot today in our lesson. So you should mind these elements. An everyday example, for example, set. Let's look at some example of sets that you might already know from your daily life. First, think about the vowels in English language. You know that the set of vowels is A, E, I, O, and U. That's a set. Second, think about the days in a week. You know that 7 days of the week. The set of days is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's also a set. Let me give you another example. Consider the even numbers less than 10. Those are 2, 4, 6, and 8. They are elements. Can you see how they all share common properties? What is this property? They are all even and they are all less than 10. And finally, think about regions of Ethiopia, our regions. The set of Ethiopian regions include Tigray, Amara, Oromo, and all others. So all these examples are sets because they are well-defined collections. So remember, sets are collection of objects that share a common property. They are all around us every single day. See? Let's come to set notation, which means naming sets. How mathematics writes sets. We need a special language to talk about sets clearly and precisely. Sets are usually named using capital letters. For example, I might call a set A or B or C. Set A, set B, set C. Using capital letters makes it easy to identify that we are talking about set. Next, we list the elements of set inside curly brackets, curly braces. These are the symbols. So if I have each element is listed only once, no repeats. A set is a collection of distinct objects, so you don't list the same things twice. If I have a green twice, that would be incorrect. Each element appears one time and one time only. So, let me introduce you two very important symbols that mathematicians use when talking about sets. The first symbol is the element symbol, E. It looks like the letter E with a line through it. This symbol means it's an element of. The second symbol is this one. It's the same symbol but with a slash through it. This means not an element of. So let me show you how to use it. If I have a set A, for example, set A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then I can say 3 an element of A, which means 3 is an element of set A, and that is true. 3 is in the set. But I can also say I can write 7 element of A. It's not an element of A, which means 7 is not an element of set A. And what is true? 7 is not the set. Let's do another example. I can say Addis Ababa, an element, the set of Ethiopian cities. That's true. Addis Ababa is indeed an Ethiopian city. The symbols are very useful, so remember them. Let's practice using these symbols together. I'll show you how a set, and then we will decide if each statement is true or false. Look at our set A, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. These are even number from 2 to 10. Now, first statement, 4 is an element of A. Is 4 in our set A? Is 4 in our set? Yes, 4 is in the set, so it is true. Second statement, 7 is an element of A. Is 7 in our set? No, 7 is not there. We have only 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, but not 7. So this is false. Third statement, look, 10 is an element of A. Is 10 in our set? Look, yes, absolutely. So this statement is true. Another statement, 2 is not an element of A. Is 2 not in the set? Wait, look carefully. Yeah, 2 is not in the set. 2 is in the set. So to say 2 is not in the set is false. 2 is an element of set A. So 2 is an element of set A. It is true. 2 is not an element of A is false. Did everyone understand? Good, let's move on. Now let's talk about the size of set. In mathematics, we call this is cardinality of a set. Cardinality simply means the number of elements a set contains. So we write cardinality as n in bracket A, or sometimes vertical bars like absolute A in absolute. Let me give you an example. If I have a set A with 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 elements, how many elements are there? Let's count them. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's 5 elements. So number of set element A is equal to 5. Let's look some more examples. The set of vowels has 5 elements, so cardinality is 5. The set of days in weeks have 7 elements, so the cardinality is 7. Cardinality helps us to describe how big or how small a set is. It's very useful. Now let me tell you about a very special set, the empty set. The empty set is the set that has no elements. It is completely empty. So we can write in two ways. Either as an empty pair of curly braces like this, or using this special symbol, which is called the null set symbol. So let me give you some example of empty set. Example 1. The set of an element in this classroom. Unless there is an elephant I don't know about, this is an empty set. There is no elephant here. The classroom. Second example. The set of days that have 30 hours. No, every day has only 24 hours. So there is no day with 30 hours. So the set is empty set. Let me give you some more examples. The set of even numbers that are also odd. That's impossible, right? A number cannot be both even and odd. So this set is empty. So the empty sets might seem strange, but it's very important in mathematics. And remember that the empty set has cardinality 0 because it contains nothing. So, alright class, now it's time for us to practice what we have learned. I want you to work with a partner for this activity. Let's proceed. So let's summarize what you have learned today. So let's take a moment to review everything we have learned today. This is what you should remember. First and most importantly, set is a well-defined collection of objects. If you can clearly tell whether something belongs or doesn't belong, then you have a set. Second, we list the elements of set inside curly braces. They are like the container that holds all the elements. Third, we use the symbol E to mean is an element of, and E with slash to mean is not an element of. This symbol are very useful for talking about membership in a set. Fourth point, the cardinality of a set written as N in bracket capital A tells you how many elements the set contains. And finally, the empty set has no element and has cardinality 0. They will be the foundation for everything else we learn in this unit. Good. Let's now check your understanding with a few review questions. I want you to answer this in your head or discuss them with your neighbor, friends, brothers, and so on. So, thank you so much for your attention and participation today. You have done wonderful work learning about sets, elements, cardinality, and the empty set. These are the building blocks of mathematics, and now you have a strong foundation. Next lesson we will build on what we have learned today and talk about subsets and Venn diagrams. I promise it will be even more interesting. If you have any questions, please come up in the comment section, and I will see you next time. Take care and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.